So, like, we've talked about this a little bit before, right? But, oh no, why can't I use Blackboard? Unfortunate. We're just going to have to, wait, can we... Let's go to Widowmaker. Let's find a wall. Alright, blue screen. Alright. So, the same sort of thing, like, if there is a Widowmaker, or sorry, not a Widowmaker, or a Reinhardt, and the Reinhardt's got his shield, and he's like, yay, I'm Reinhardt, right? So this is Reinhardt's shield, right? If you are a Widowmaker, hello, I am Widowmaker. I am Le French, and I have a sniper rifle, which is apparently positioned on my neck. Whee! Alright, so, the kind of, the position, or like, when I like to think about the game, I think that thinking about the game in terms of space is really, really, really important, right? So, if you are at the same level as this Reinhardt projects all of this space behind him very, very securely. And if for some reason you're like Pine and you're playing 3 inches away from a Reinhardt shield, you know, they even project a little bit of space above them, right? But so there's an angle between you and basically the top of this shield, and you want to make this angle as sharp as possible. So if there is a high ground or something like this, and you are standing up here and you are being Le Widowmaker, this time with a pistol, right? The space that this Reinhardt projects is a very, very tiny triangle. The actual area that he protects for the rest of his team gets reduced dramatically, and especially if the Reinhardt pushes up, it's going to get to a point where you could even shoot him directly in the head above him, right? So this sort of thing can happen in this direction, whereas we're looking at the side view, as well as it can also happen if the opponent, now we're looking at a top view, right? So the Reinhardt is here. If you're here, this is kind of giving this Reinhardt all of this space, and this space is safe from the rest of your team, which is this amorphous blob, right? But if you as a Widowmaker kind of take these positions here, then this position might be safe from this group, but then this position gets cut off from you. So only this tiny position is safe from the Reinhardt. So your job as Widowmaker is really, you want to threaten as many different... You want to threaten space, and different space than the rest of your team is threatening, so that the opponent can't just sit here safely supporting their Reinhardt, right? And this is one of the reasons why double shield is so strong, because if we have a Reinhardt sitting here, right, and you have like, you know, an Orisa here, a Hanzo here, and a Widowmaker here, right? The Orisa threatens this space, the Hanzo threatens this space, and the Widowmaker threatens this space, so the Reinhardt basically can only shield himself. It's one of the reasons that Reinhardt sucks so much ass in double off-tank and double flanker compositions. And since we are in a double off-tank meta, Rein bad. All right, that's TLDR. So, now, the question is basically, how aggressive of these angles can you actually take? And if you don't have high ground positions, what do you actually do? Right, so you need to kind of demonstrate a habit or a behavior that is going to threaten the opponent, right? So if you're, for example, sitting in this area, right, one of the high grounds that you can just very easily take is going to be up here. And then if that Reinhardt is sitting here, you can just be like, shooting gallery! You can go back to playing your aim turn, and you're like, pew, 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 you're all dead, right? It doesn't matter, you can just sit there for as long as you want. Then you don't have to be waiting for Reins to drop their shields or anything like that. But let's say, what is a good position to demonstrate this? First, defense, maybe? Maybe. I mean, I'm just gonna, like, it's not gonna be a perfect example, but it's gonna be good enough, right? So, let's say that, let's pretend that all of this high ground doesn't exist for some reason. I mean, this high ground's like, okay, but it's not the greatest sort of thing. So one of the things is that if you don't have high ground to sit on, one of the things you can do is just consistently just grapple shot, right? And then that will give you a period of time to threaten somebody. Come on. Really? Is this not a spot that you can grapple off of? You know, even if you do something like that, you're going to get at least time, definitely time for one shot, hopefully time for two if you're quick enough, where you can threaten. And like good Widowmakers, taking these shots, like just the fact that you have demonstrated a willingness to go for grapple shots is a massive threat, especially at the higher ranks where these Widowmakers will land those shots. Opponents just can't exist in those spots, even if they are not actively being threatened by the Widowmaker, because at any point in time, they can be threatened by the Widowmaker, and she is going to be able to threaten that space faster than the people in that space can take cover. So you are like projecting this potential threat which is again kind of like similar to Roadhog's projecting potential threats by not using their hook. So the other thing that you want to kind of consider doing is that instead of using your hook aggressively for something like a grapple shot, this is also something that you can do to find a flank. So let's say that instead of trying to take this high ground position, you want to do an alternative flank, right? So let's say that your alternative flank is you want to go on the right side. In this situation, what you do is you go down and you just walk, and then you start taking pot shots from this angle, especially if the Reinhardt's like here, he's going to be like, oh my god, he's going to have to back off, and then if he shields you, then the rest of your team gets threatened, right? But the point is that your grapple here is to be used as a defense. So if you get pushed, you can just grapple away to pull space. So this is kind of like how Widowmakers can get away with being such like aggressive flanky assholes, is they kind of just like take weird angles, and then it's like, I don't know what a tip. It's like, you know, let's say that we use this angle, like so we flank all the way behind. Like let's pretend that the Reinhardt is playing like here, and you know he's going to be using this angle because the payload's right about to be pushed in, right? And you're on offense here. So what happens if you as Widowmaker go like peek and be like, try and get a few shots here? That'll cause some chaos, but then in order to get away, you can either grapple the floor, you can be like, oh, well, apparently I'm grappling the high ground. But either way, your grapple is an escape. And grapple is, you can move laterally farther than even Genji Dash can take you. So you can just be like, threat, 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 right? And then as soon as any attention comes onto you, you're like, peace, I'm gone, bye. And you're safe again. But doing that, especially if you've demonstrated a behavior to do that, people are going to be like, where's the Widow? Where's the Widow? And just passively by existing, you force that person to think about something other than what they are trying to accomplish. They have to take time looking for flanks. Do they see you? Right? So if you're going to be going for, you know, if you want to threaten a high ground, like if you want to threaten these vertical angles and there's no high grounds that you can just perch on, do vertical grapple shots. And if not, if you want to threaten laterally, position aggressively where you have a good retreat using your grapple. And always, like, I mean, there's a lot of Widowmakers that don't... Oh, wow. Why is my grapple sensitivity? Huh. It's crazy that my grapple is going for such a ridiculous angle. This must be... I haven't played Widowmaker since the grapple sensitivity changes. Huh. But even on the ground, right? You can grapple... Oh, I didn't do it. But you can press space to hop after the grapple as well. I'll try and do it. You make me want to play Widow now? Good. That is my joke. Hop! No! Why is it not working? You should be able to get a little bit of extra distance if you press space at the right time, so... There we go. See? So, practice that a little bit. Practice doing your floor hops, especially because you don't need these high grounds to grapple away to. As long as you get these little grapples, you can, you know, whee! Far away. So use those to retreat. Alright, questions, chat? But yeah, if you want to play like Aim Training Simulator 2020, you play Aim Training 2020, like Simulator 2020. Just pretend that there's a mini game right before you play that's like Operation Make Sure There Isn't a Shield in my aim training game. Especially with the high sense, the 180 floor grapple is easy. Yeah, you know, it's other things. It's like, you know, eventually you'll be like, pew, but then you'll just want to reactionary do that. And then, like, God, this is going to be something that I haven't practiced. But you can... wow, did I lag out? Anyway, one of the things you can do is you can grapple. If you're good enough, you can grapple 180 during it and then jump backwards. Like that. So, and the other thing is that combo with that, with being able to jump into scope, it's grapple, 180, at the end of it, jump while being scoped in. And by the time you land, you should be get a shot on anyone who's chasing you. So